Welcome to Taiwan Report News Brief, news and analysis from Taiwan. I'm Donovan Smith. Up today on the show, Transport Minister Lin Xiaolong again comments on changing the name of China Airlines. The NCC wraps CTV over finances. NPP lawmakers are sniffing around Gao Xiang. Could a mayoral run be the reason? KMT picks a bigshot to head their online marketing campaign. The Tedros and WHO controversy takes some unexpected turns. Both the U.S. and Chinese militaries have been very active in the region recently. And finally, a report in the People's Daily has me concerned. Up first, of course, in the current climate is lots of coronavirus stuff. In Focus Taiwan, Taiwan confirms 3 new COVID-19 cases, all imported. Now, there's also been a 6th death, which brings up the mortality rate to 1.57, although that's not a terribly reliable number at this point. The total number of cases in Taiwan is 385. Now, over to Reddit. Now, if you're watching on YouTube or Facebook, you can see this. If you're listening to the podcast, you can't. But there's somebody posted up something here to r/Taiwan on Reddit, and it shows a graph with number of new daily cases, and it shows starting at about March 14th, the number of new cases daily spiking up, and then starting from about March 24th, you see the number of daily cases starts to taper off, and so it's coming down now back into single digits. It's kind of a striking graph. If you want to find it on Reddit, it's titled, "Well Done Taiwan, Entire World is Struggling and You Eradicated Corona," which may be jumping the gun a bit, but that's how you'll find it. Focus Taiwan, crowd management enforced at scenic and popular areas, CECC. Crowd measurement measures, that's an interesting way to put it, are to be introduced at scenic and popular areas around Taiwan starting Friday in an effort to slow down the spread of the new coronavirus COVID-19 disease, according to the Central Epidemic Command Center. Night markets, traditional markets, and shopping areas are required to enforce social distancing and have only one point of entry, according to Command Center. In addition, all free food samples must be canceled, while vendors and customers will be required to wear masks at all times. If a safe distance cannot be created between seated customers, then a partition board should be used. Continuing in Focus Taiwan, Taiwan developing social distancing app. Taiwan is working to develop an app that would help people maintain social distancing as part of its efforts to contain the COVID-19 coronavirus, the director of Cybersecurity Department under the Executive Yuan said on Saturday. When the app is released in a week or two, it will issue an alert on people's mobile phones if they get too close to each other, which, if you can't use your eyes, I suppose might be very helpful. It goes on to say it will also provide information about crowded venues so that people could avoid entering. Now that's actually possibly quite useful. Again, Focus Taiwan, Taipei unveils face mask vending machines, because why not? Health Minister Chen and Taipei Mayor Ke Wen-je on Saturday unveiled 3 vending machines in the city for the sale of surgical face masks to the general public. The vending machines, which are all in the Xinyi District Health Center near Taipei 101, will be ready to dispense masks from Sunday at 8:30 a.m. Continuing in Focus Taiwan, the headline reads, Academia Sinica team identifies potential COVID-19 inhibitors. Taiwan's Academia Sinica said Friday that it has screened out protease inhibitors of the COVID-19 coronavirus, which could eventually lead to the development of targeted drugs to stop the virus from replicating itself in patients' bodies. Now, it said that animal and human tests are required before the inhibitors can be turned into anti-COVID-19 drugs, but said finding potential inhibitors in such a short time demonstrates Taiwan's ability to respond to the COVID-19 pandemic. We are looking forward to providing an option for targeted new drugs in the future. Taipei Times. The headline reads, Virus Outbreak Survey says hand washing by coffee servers insufficient. Nearly 80% of employees at convenience stores and coffee shops do not wash or disinfect their hands before making coffee for customers, the Consumers Foundation said in a survey published yesterday. Now, in situations where two employees are working, one is a cashier and the other making coffee, 22.7% of them washed or disinfected their hands before making coffee. However, a solution may be on the way. Taipei Times article reads, Machinist builds wireless coffee machine. A machinist in Yilan County has built an automated pour-over coffee machine that can be operated wirelessly by a cell phone through Bluetooth. Well, I don't think that he was not originally making it for the purpose of dealing with the coronavirus, but it might actually come in handy. Moving on to RTI, the headline reads, Taiwan baseball team to get robotic fans. The COVID-19 pandemic has put a damper on many aspects of life in Taiwan, but not baseball. The professional baseball season here is going ahead as scheduled. And while games this season will be closed to spectators, that doesn't necessarily mean the stands will be completely empty. Not actually as scheduled. It's starting later than originally planned. Taiwan's Rakuten Monkeys are slated to face off against the China Trust Brothers over the weekend. Well, it got delayed because of rain. But anyway, go Brothers, they're my team. Now, so the Monkeys have teamed up with a robotics company, getting the company to make robotic mannequins dressed up like fans. Come game day, the team will have 500 robots cheering them on. All right, this is a Central News Agency report in Chinese. Now, this is a quote from Lin Xiaolong, and he said on Facebook, with the Wuhan, during this period of the Wuhan coronavirus, there are many voices have been raised with the reaction of the hope to change the name of China Airlines. Regarding this, he said, he says, we have an open attitude, but changing an airline's name is no small matter. This includes air rights, air routes, and China Airlines is a listed company. So we have to respect the shareholders and the consensus of the nation's entire population. And he hopes, or we hope, he said, that society will come to a consensus on the issue. Now, he doesn't really say how he's going to find out what that consensus is, or if he's going to do anything in particular to go and try and achieve a consensus. Moving on to the Taipei Times, NCC asks CTV to rectify its financial difficulties. National Communications Commission has asked China television company CTV to improve its financial situation and submit financial statements and information on its shareholders before it can continue a performance review of the network. The 51-year-old company, which with Taiwan television and Chinese television system, is among the nation's oldest broadcast television networks, was owned by the KMT until it became a publicly traded firm in 1999. In 2005, Want China Times Group acquired it, along with the Chinese-language China Times and cable network CITV News. NCC data show that CTV has a paid-in capital of 1.5 billion NT dollars, but its accumulated financial losses are equal to more than half that. Its book value has fallen to 3 NT per share, and it has been listed by the Taiwan Stock Exchange as a full cash delivery stock. Now, essentially, this is the notoriously, and it was reported, if memory serves, it was the Financial Times, I think Catherine Hill wrote that they actually receive some instructions from people in China on their content, and what kind of content they run. They've been continually fined for example, during the election season in 2018 by putting something like 70% of all of their coverage on just Handguoyu. So you could say they're very pan-blue. Many would say red. All right, moving on to a UDN piece here in Chinese. So this is interesting. We've got two NPP lawmakers. So we've got Chen Xiaohua has set up a Gao Xiang service center. Also, another from the same party, Wang Yu, fourth tone, on the 18th, also in conjunction with NPP City Councilor Huang Jie, have also set up a service center in Kaohsiung. Now, there could be a serious possibility here that they're sniffing around possibly a run for mayor of the city if the recall campaign against Handguoyu actually works. A little bit further down, a TPP spokesperson said that Wan Biru's presence in Kaohsiung, which we discussed the other day, is that she's unlikely, doesn't say it's impossible, but is unlikely to make a run for mayor. Another Chinese language article in CTS. And now we've been talking a little bit about how Johnny Cheng, the new KMT chair, has been pushing to get the KMT to be more digital and to do better digital marketing. And as I've commented many times, that's well and good, and that will help a little bit, but the key is that they have to have a message that will appeal. Now, they haven't gotten to that part yet, but they got the founder of Dcard, which is kind of a socially media kind of site that's very popular in Taiwan, and got the founder of that on board as the head of their digital marketing program. So that's actually a pretty strong choice to get the founder of Dcard. That's so that definitely Johnny Cheng is very serious. Moving on to the Daily Caller. The headline reads, Chinese city evicted scores of Africans from their homes as WHO accused Taiwan of stoking racism. As I noted the other day, also, the media outlets in China have also been doubling down on Tedros' comments about Taiwan being racist. So here's a quote. We have no house, no food, no hotel, an unnamed Nigerian student living in Guangzhou told the BBC on Thursday. There are up to 100 people still in the streets. People want to go back to our countries. So, there's that. Taipei Times. Chinese issue fake apology for Taiwan. Chinese posing as Taiwanese have issued online apologies to WHO Director General Tedros for, quote, personal attacks and, quote, racist abuse, Taiwanese authorities said yesterday. Ministry of Justice Investigation Bureau officials presented the findings at a media briefing to rebut accusations by Tedros, who on Wednesday accused Taiwan of accusing in personal attacks against him. Tedros said that he over the past 3 months received death threats and racist abuse and claimed it originated from Taiwan. Within hours of Tedros' remarks, Twitter accounts traced to China began posting apologies to the WHO on behalf of the Taiwanese public, which were then circulated on Chinese social media, amplifying their reach. Continuing in the Taipei Times, the headline is, Chen reveals Taiwan's email to WHO. Minister of Health and Welfare Chen Shizhong yesterday urged the WHO to be honest as the Central Epidemic Command Center published the email it had sent to the world body in December last year, alerting it about the risk of an outbreak in China. The WHO on Friday said it received an email from the Ministry of Health and Welfare on December 31st last year, but added, quote, there was no mention in the message of human-to-human transmission. Now, that was something that has been reported in various media outlets. So here's what it actually was. So during a news conference at the CEC in Taipei yesterday, Chen read out the Centers for Disease Control's email to the WHO International Health Regulations focal point on December 31st last year. News resources indicate that at least 7 atypical pneumonia cases were reported in Wuhan, China, the email read. Their health authorities replied to the media that the cases were believed not SARS. However, the samples are still under examination, and the cases have been isolated for treatment. I would greatly appreciate it if you have relevant information to share with us. Thank you very much in advance for your attention to this matter, it added. Well, that was a wasted thanks because they put no attention into the matter. However, moving on. China commonly uses the term atypical pneumonia to refer to SARS, but Chinese authorities had been ambiguous in describing the novel coronavirus as an atypical pneumonia, but not SARS. Quote, the email specifically noted that patients had been isolated for treatment, Chen said. Any public health expert or medical professional would know what circumstances would require patients to be isolated for treatment. So, in a sense, the WHO is correct. The email did not specifically say human-to-human transmission. However, they put it in such a way that any public health professional would know exactly what they meant. Taipei Times. Group raises millions for ad responding to Tedros. The ad in the New York Times would ask the WHO Director General to please stop oppressing Taiwan, organizers said. An online fundraiser to pay for a full-page advertisement in the New York Times detailing Taiwan's position amid controversy surrounding WHO Director General Tedros has raised 10.28 million NT dollars in less than 9 hours, well over the 4 million it was seeking. So, there you go. Moving back to Focus Taiwan, U.S. military assets seen near Taiwan Friday, Saturday. An American guided missile warship and 2 reconnaissance military aircraft have been operating near Taiwan in the past 2 days after Chinese warplanes showed up in the area, Taiwan's Ministry of National Defense confirmed Saturday. The Ministry of National Defense confirmed that the USS Barry, an Arleigh Burke-class destroyer, sailed through the Taiwan Strait from north to south, but didn't say when. Now, the U.S. Pacific Fleet confirmed it, and meanwhile, a U.S. EP-3E electronic warfare and reconnaissance aircraft was seen flying south of Taiwan Saturday morning. And on Friday morning, aircraft spots showed a U.S. military aircraft, the RC-135U Combat Scent, flying over the South China Sea. The aircraft is usually deployed to locate and identify foreign military land, naval, and airborne radar signals for analysis. The U.S. military vessels and aircraft showed up in the area after Chinese J-11 jet fighters, KJ-500 early warning aircraft, and H-6 bombers were spotted Friday morning flying southwest of Taiwan and entering the Bashi Channel between Taiwan and the Philippines. A researcher at the Institute for National Defense and Security Research said the U.S. aircraft were probably monitoring the activities of Chinese PLA. The U.S. might also be sending a signal to some countries by allowing flight trackers such as aircraft spots to record the movements of its aircraft. And finally, something that I found quite alarming. Now, normally when things run in global times, it's a trial balloon, and this is the CCP mouthpiece. But when they run something in the People's Daily, that tends to be the official line, or hinting very much that this is an official policy. Now, this one's a little tricky because it was written originally in the Global Times, but the People's Daily is rerunning it under their own banner. So, because it's in the People's Daily, we need to take this seriously. The headline reads, Chinese PLA holds regular drills near Taiwan in preparation for military struggle. Experts. Now, they're quoting experts, so what they're saying, they're not saying it directly. they're hinting at suggesting they support, possibly. So I don't know. The Chinese People's Liberation Army reportedly held military drills featuring warplanes near the island of Taiwan on Friday, and such drills, having taken place at least 4 times since the traditional Spring Festival holiday in January, have become regular and are now part of military struggle preparations against the island, mainland experts said on Friday. Now, a mainland military expert and TV commentator told the Global Times on Friday that the drills were part of preparations for the potential military struggle against the island of Taiwan, and such drills have become regular and routine. After the traditional Spring Festival holiday in late January, the PLA conducted a combat readiness patrol mission featuring warships and warplanes on February 9th, joint exercises on February 10th, and a rare warplane nighttime exercises on March 16th, all near the island of Taiwan, despite the COVID-19 outbreak. Song said he expects the PLA to gradually hold larger and more frequent drills, and for the drills to become more targeted and have more deterrence, such as decapitation strikes against secessionist forces and area denial operations against foreign intervention. The exercises need to let Taiwan secessionists know that the support of foreign forces is useless, and also let foreign forces understand that the PLA possesses the ability and determination to solve the Taiwan question. The drills on Friday also came after the U.S. recently signed the Taipei Act into law, which allows the U.S. to reduce, expand, or terminate economic and diplomatic engagements with nations that take actions to undermine Taiwan, and help Taiwan Island gain participation in international organizations, either as a member or an observer, and provide weapons to the island. A spokesperson for the State Council Taiwan Affairs Office said following the signaling of the U.S. Act on March 26th that China's national reunification and rejuvenation will not be stopped by any force. Now, this takes a slightly different tone than most articles like this. Usually, there's a lot of self-justification in the articles they write, where they talk about how, because of the bad actions of the secessionists, poor China has to defend its sovereignty, and woe is us, it's Taiwan's fault. This article doesn't even bother with that. It just simply says, we are sending a message to let the Taiwanese secessionists know that the support of foreign forces is useless. All right, that's it for today's show. Of course, all the English articles will be up on report.tw, and I hope you check back there often. There's some other articles that I picked out for you as well, which are longer reads and more interesting, that I didn't discuss on the show. Be sure to hit subscribe, and subscribe.
This has been brought to you by the Taiwan Report. For more content like this, become our patron at report.tw.
哎呦，就是那个台湾狗啦，最喜欢我的台湾狗了。